Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of statistics, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and an enormous selection of players and stat options are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million football fans who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/get100 and use code GET100. That's code GET100 at prizepicks.com/get100 for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers, about hikers, for everybody.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning.
Welcome to the Jester Section Hiker Podcast with the spotlight on section hikers.
And I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
I am excited to announce that the podcast episodes that are specific to the Mountains to Sea Trail are now being sponsored by the MST Guide by Pocket Trails. The MST Guide is the most comprehensive app for maps and navigation developed for the Mountains to Sea Trail, providing unprecedented information and ease of access for day hikers, section hikers, and through hikers. Never get lost again. Updated maps with trail route changes and everything you need from parking areas, camping locations, water sources, and more. Available now for download through Google Play and coming soon for the iPhone. Check it out and download today. The MST Guide by Pocket Trails. Follow the lines in the palm of your hand. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. You are listening to Jester Section Hiker, the premier podcast with the spotlight on section hikers. And I'm your host, Julie Jester Gayhart. I am back this week continuing my venture to hike all 40 day hikes from the book, Great Day Hikes on North Carolina's Mountains to Sea Trail. For this episode, I bring you day hikes 24, 25, and 26. Hike number 24, as you will hear, could be titled Bridges, Bridges, and More Bridges. After hike number 24, I bring you part 2 of my interview with Tara Dower, the current fastest known time holder for the Mountains to Sea Trail. Tara and I talk about her trek across the state of North Carolina, where she hiked 1,175 miles in 29 days, 8 hours, and 48 minutes. Truly amazing. After Tara, it's on to hike number 25 and the Smithfield Neuse Riverwalk, then on to hike number 26 through the Bentonville battlefield grounds. Thanks for tuning in for this week's episode, and now on to those day hikes and part 2 of my chat with Tara Dower. All right, you guys, I am back, and welcome to the Coastal Plains portion of the hikes. And I am currently on hike number 24. It is Monday, December the 28th, and I am about halfway through this hike. And before I give you guys the description in the book, all I'm going to say on this is bridges, bridges, bridges. This has been an amazing walk so far, but before I get into all of that, first and foremost, I hope you guys enjoyed part 1 of the interview with Tara Dower, the fastest known time holder on the Mountains to Sea Trail, the current fastest known time holder on the Mountains to Sea Trail. The previous episode ended with that, and when I get done talking about hike number 24, we will go right into part 2 with Tara Dower, and I know you are really going to enjoy part 2 as well as you did part 1. But let's go ahead and get into this hike. Hike number 24 is Raleigh's Neuse River Greenway. It is from the Buffalo Road portion to get on the Greenway to Millburnie Park. The distance in total is 4.4 miles one way. And I will say, even though I got dropped off, that this would be a spectacular one to do, how's it going, as an out and back, because it is on the beautiful Greenway following the Neuse River. The degree of difficulty is easy. The trail type is all paved Greenway, and it is exceptionally well maintained, and I do agree, pretty easy walking. The elevation gain is 211 feet. The loss is 181 feet. The highlights are elegant river bridges, good river views, and I'm going to change that to excellent river views, and rapids at the historic dam site. So in addition to that information, the book also says Raleigh's Neuse River Trail stretches almost 28 miles from Falls Lake Dam to the Johnson County line, where it changes names and continues, where it changes its name and continues on into the town of Clayton. The paved Greenway, as the name suggests, parallel the Neuse River for most of its length. It runs concurrently with the MST for its entire length. This hike includes one of the most scenic portions of the Greenway, and I am a little over halfway through, and you guys cannot get over this. It is absolutely amazing. It also says in the book, near the end of the hike is the former site of the Millburnie Dam. This 15-foot high dam, most recently built in 1900, was the last remaining impoundment on the Neuse below Falls Lake. The dam was removed in 2017, allowing the Neuse to run unimpeded over 200 miles from Falls Lake to the Pamlico Sound. So again, you guys, I cannot emphasize enough how great this Greenway is and how jealous I am that where I live currently in the north part of Charlotte, North Carolina, we do not have something like this already. They're working on it, but we do not. So this is another example of what I am finding of the uniqueness of the Mountains to Sea Trail. You get out of the mountains, you get into the Piedmont where you're in state parks and things, and now with this hike number 24, you're on all Greenway, and it is exactly, you think it's exactly what you think, because I had one thing in my mind, and it's literally turned into a whole nother grand thing. It kind of reminds me of, if any of you have been on or ridden on the Virginia Creeper Trail in outside of Damascus, Virginia. It's a gravelly, pebbly 16-mile ride from the top of White Top Mountain in Virginia down into the town of Damascus, and you can continue on to the town in Abingdon, Virginia. But this puts me right there because I've done that. The only exception is this is all paved. At any given time, it does give you that mountain feel because sometimes you're following the Neuse River and you can see it. Other times you've got forest along the Greenway. Right now in front of me, I've got forest and the river on my left. And then on my right, off in the distance. I can see a housing development, but it's not so close that it's right there on the greenway, which is perfect. So if you live in the Raleigh area and you're near the Neuse River and you have not been on the greenway, you have got to get out here and venture on this. But so you've got cyclists going by you, you've got runners, other walkers, and it's incredible. And I said a few things at the beginning of this talk, or at the beginning of this segment for the hike. Bridges, bridges, bridges. If y'all have not learned me by now, I love bridges. The heights on the bridges scare me, but I love bridges and I love fire towers. And I've said it before on these segments of the Mountains to Sea Trail, the day hikes. The MST has got it going on for these bridges. And before you even get to the suspension bridge that is halfway through this hike, how's it going? You cross over 4 or 5 bridges and you go over the Neuse River, and they're amazing and stopping and taking pictures and all that stuff. But the suspension bridge, I got some really good video of the suspension bridge, some good clips that I will put out on my Instagram either the day before or the day of or the day after that this episode comes out, because I like to put out the clips that go along with the episode as well on my Instagram channel, which is basically at Jester Hikes. But anyway, getting back to the full suspension bridge that you go over on this greenway, if you do nothing else on these 40-day hikes, I'm telling you right now, you got to come see this suspension bridge and do this 4.4 mile stretch. But so I am going to turn this part of the podcast over back to part 2 of my interview with Tara Dower, also known as Candy Mama, and we really get into her Mountains to Sea Trail fastest known time, how she ended up doing it, some struggles along the way, and then an awesome send-off message from Tara. So once again, thanks for coming to back to the podcast, everybody. Hike number 24, about 1.5 miles to go, and here is to my interview with Tara. All right, you guys, I am back with part 2 with Tara Dower. Welcome back, Tara.
Thank you for having me. Welcome to your van.
Thank you so much. So we left off on part 1 where Tara was working at the Appalachian Trailer with the Blue Ridge Hiking Company, having to tell people about coronavirus, getting people off the trail.
Yeah.
And which I think was a good point to lead us to the Mountains to Sea Trail and kind of how you ended up going from, I'm going to through hike it to I'm going to do the fastest known time. Mm-hmm. So Tara, why don't you start us off with what is a fastest known time?
Yeah. So a fastest known time, a lot of people always tell me that it seems like they think I made up the name, but people always tell me that that's a bad name for this kind of thing. A lot of people want to call it a speed hike. So essentially it's a hike that you do really fast. Fastest known time essentially is you just hike a trail or a route of something, of anything, and you just hike it as fast as anyone's ever done it, or run it or walk it, however you want to complete it.
Okay, and we'll get into what you ended up completing the trail in, because you also hiked it in the birthday month of the Mountains to Sea Trail. Yeah. So take us back to your decision. Okay, I'm going to through hike the Mountains to Sea Trail and kind of lead us through what happened.
Yeah, so after the Appalachian Trail in 2019, I wanted to explore another trail. I've always been interested in the Mountains to Sea Trail. I've lived here. I mean, I literally have lived 10 minutes from the Mountains to Sea Trail my entire life. And I've always just enjoyed exploring North Carolina. It's my home state. So I've always been interested in it, and so I decided after the Appalachian Trail I wanted to thru hike, just a regular thru hike like you would do, throw a backpack on, backpacking bag, and go do a regular thru hike. So I thought about that, and I was planning for that, but then I got the job at Blue Ridge and postponed it from March to September. And so this whole time I was like totally about the thru hike, and then COVID happened while I was telling all these Appalachian thru hikers like their hike would probably be postponed. I was also dealing with the fact that like, man, my hike on the Mountain Sea Trail will probably be postponed too, just because I don't want to give the virus or receive the virus by some means, who knows. So I wanted to be responsible in that I didn't do that. So I thought it would be over. Then I started playing with the idea, like, what if I form this quarantine crew of friends, family, whoever wants to come with me, and we just, do day hikes, and we move me or whoever wants to come with me towards the East Coast, and we kind of like a camper van or use like a car, and we just do like, just day hikes and do stuff like that, and try to practice social distancing. Because if you are a fan of the Mountains to Sea Trail, you know that you can't just camp wherever. In a lot of spots, you can't just set up camp. You can, but it's illegal, and I didn't want to do it illegally.
And you kind of have to rely on the trail angels too once you get to a certain point, right?
Yeah, so you have to rely on the trail angels. So I couldn't do that. Doing a thru hike didn't seem possible when I had to stay with a bunch of trail angels, or get rides from trail angels, or get rides from even doing a regular hitchhiking. So I decided I was going to do like this quarantine crew idea, and then I was like, what if I look into the fastest known time? Because I was working for Jennifer Fard Davis. And
I don't know how you couldn't think of this stuff constantly working for her.
Yeah, I mean, she's an inspiration. She's hiked the Appalachian Trail. She hiked it in the fastest known time. It's been beat by now, but not by a lot. So she is an inspiration. So I had it in my head.
Let's be clear, she's the standard. Because I don't know. Yes, I want to go ahead and say that, because no matter whoever is trying to do the fastest known time on the AT, they use her stuff. She's the standard.
She is.
So
she does it her way, and I mean that's what made her so successful. Is she didn't follow the rules, and she just did it her way. She's incredible. So I was in my head, I'm working for Jen. I was like, fastest known times. What if I just try to like explore that route? And I saw the fastest known time that for the 900 mile, when it was 900 miles, the trail, I saw it was 22 days. And
oh, wow.
So 1,175 mile trail that it is now didn't have a record.
Oh, I didn't know that. So it was like there was no fastest known time.
There was no fastest known time.
Male or female. Okay.
But what I wanted to do when I was planning this, when I was exploring it, still in the exploration stage, I thought I want to be competitive. I want to stay on the pace that was previously set by Van Duren. Diane Van Duren was the woman who set the record, 22 days. For the 900 mile trail. So I was
so what month was this brewing in 2020?
I'm not exactly sure. I think I was preparing August, July, and I think June it was brewing. So it was a pretty quick turnover.
Okay. When you say preparing, okay, because I cannot even imagine. Okay. So you did set the fastest known time.
Uh-huh.
So what was your time?
It was 29 days, 8 hours and 48 minutes. So
okay.
That's about 40.1 miles a day.
Okay. So how does one prepare for 40.1 miles per day, every day?
So the great thing about it was that I was getting to know Jen Fard Davis. I was getting to know Mercury, who is currently on the Appalachian Trail hiking, trying to set the fastest known time going northbound, which she did for women. And so I was getting to know her. I was getting to know Warren Doyle. All of them are fastest known time record holders. So I had a bunch of mentorship. And I found that Mercury was having issues with her shin splints. So I started working out, like trying to do not rehab, but trying to strengthen like the muscles around my shins, trying to strengthen my knees, because usually I have issues with my knees, trying to strengthen my body. And then I also just did a bunch of running. I did a bunch of trail running, just lots of miles, big days.
Well, you were in Hot Springs still, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so you
I hiked up the 900-foot Deer Park Mountain, which is crazy. If you go south on the trail after Hot Springs, you realize it's just a straight up. So I did that a bunch of times, like mountain repeats, hill repeats, but with a mountain.
Now, did you ever go 40.1 day after day after day to see what it felt like?
No, and that's something I recommend for people to do, is to do that, to see how your body reacts to that. But honestly, I didn't really need to. But it would have been beneficial to do that. It was just like one day where I do 40 and then take the next day off. So
gotcha.
Not really accurate scenario there.
So what led you in? Did it just happen that it was the Mountains of Sea Trail birthday month, or did you actually want to coincide this?
So September is also a big month for me, but I did notice that it was their anniversary. But it's also a big month because that's when I finished the Appalachian Trail with my husband in 2019. That's both of our birthdays. That's our marriage anniversary. It's just a big month, and I wanted to get out there and just do something big on that month. So I decided September would be a good time. It just seemed like a perfect time. Honestly, everything coincided.
Weather's perfect too. So
yes, yeah.
Leaves are changing, we're coming into fall. It still can be hot in North Carolina, depending.
Yeah, I had a couple hot days, but honestly, it was like 2 near the mountains area. And then once I got to the coast, it was nice and cool. It wasn't bad. It wasn't like hot or anything. It was very, very comfortable.
All right. So Tara, I want to go back. There's some things I want to ask you about this hike. So we know why you're doing it. You have the quarantine team, I'm assuming assembled.
Yeah.
And, there's no way we could talk about everything, because I did watch the video of the car and like the mishap on the first day. And you guys will have to go to her YouTube channel to hear about that. I want to talk to you about 2 or 3 things. Uh-huh. And the first one is your shoes, your footwear. So you're a former thru hiker, runner, everything.
Yeah.
Tara decided that instead of the shoes that you were used to wearing, to switch shoes. What's up with that, Tara?
So I thought, like, doing trail running, I needed to like go to a professional to see what kind of footwear would be beneficial for this kind of thing. So she put me in a completely different shoe than I was used to. And I told her, like, I'm used to Lone Peaks. I'm used to Zero Drop, the Zero Drop shoe. She put me in, what is it called? I blocked out my mind because it was so miserable.
She put you in something that you weren't used to.
Yeah, the Solomon, Courtney Del Walter uses it. If you guys know trail ultra running, she wears it. So
yeah, she's another
incredible,
bad to the bone lady out there.
I was thinking, Courtney Del Walter, if she wears it, I can wear it. Okay, so let's do it.
Oh my God, I love it.
So I get these shoes, and they have they're not Zero Drop. They're the complete opposite of it. But they work for me on my training run. So I think, okay, this is great. I'm going to buy 3 pairs, and I'm going to buy them at 8.5. I totally forgot the fact that your feet, when you're thru hiking, they swell to like a new size, like completely. Like by the end of the hike, I was wearing a 10. So that's
okay. So we learned our lesson about the shoes. So did you actually go back to the Lone Peaks?
Yeah. So eventually I realized, okay, my feet, because I had these huge, like, my feet were ginormous. They're swollen. I had terrible blisters. My feet, I mean, I could not fit them into my shoes properly. It just was like, it was like fitting your foot into a child's shoe. It felt like it was just so tight. And that's the only shoes I had. My toes were curled in. I had terrible blisters. My feet
But Tara,
hurt.
you still did the mileage, right?
Yeah,
you still did your 40.1.
And I cried through it. I cried through all of it. But then I switched to a Lone Peak. My friend got me, this is the exact pair. She got me these Lone Peaks, and everything changed from there. The injuries went away. Don't change your footwear if you're used to something. That is the moral of the story.
All right, you heard it here, folks, from someone who owns the fastest no time right there. Don't change your footwear. Okay, so you got through that.
Yeah, I did eventually.
And then we got to Elkin, North Carolina, and the roads.
Yeah.
Okay, so I cannot let you leave here without talking about the roads because when I really started following you in this attempt, you would go on Instagram and go live.
Yeah.
And talk about the roads. Yeah. So tell us about the roads on the Mountains of Sea Trail. And you did say something different as we were hiking a little bit ago about the road portions. So tell us the reality and then the way you look at it now, I guess.
Yeah. So when I encountered my first road, it was fine. It was honestly fine. And there wasn't a lot of traffic. And so I was like, this is great. If this is how it's going to be, that's awesome. But then once I got past Elkin on my first day of the Piedmont section, so I started at Devil's Garden Overlook and went down past Elkin a little bit to the vineyard. That was my first real day on the Piedmont. And it was after Elkin, after the downtown area, it was 5 p.m. So it was rush hour and people are coming off. I think you said it was 77. I don't know.
Yeah, I-77. Yeah.
People are coming off, going back home, and I didn't have much of a shoulder to walk on. And it was just cars were rushing by. It was overload. It was so much going on. And then this lady, I saw her before, but she had sunglasses on. She just had like a blank face. It's like she didn't even see me, but she just didn't care. It's like she didn't move over at all. And it almost felt like she was trying to like clip me because she was so close. I had no shoulder and it was really close. I mean, I don't want to act dramatic about it, but I felt like I was going to get hit by this car and this lady, and she didn't even care. And at that point I was like, dang, like, is this worth it? Is it worth it? And I know there's 500 miles left on these roads. Like, I don't want to get hit by a car. Nobody's out here with me. Ryan is parked 2 miles up. Like, he doesn't know. If that lady hit me, she probably wouldn't even known. She was just in her own little world. And do I really want to risk getting hit by a car knowing how many roads there are left? So that's where that whole anxiety started. And it kind of stayed throughout the trail, because there is that 500 miles of trail, and some of the roads are great, nice country roads, no one on them. Then some are very stressful, like through Smithfield, parts through Jacksonville, parts through Greensboro. For the most part, it was fine, but there were times I have to tell this story because I didn't tell this. I don't think I'll tell this story when I put it on YouTube, but there was a time right before Mebane where I was walking, finishing up a 48-mile day, so my longest day. And
wow, 48. Okay.
Yeah. So I do everything right. I walk against traffic. I have my orange vest on. I wave to make sure I identify that they see me. If not, then I kind of move over a little more. But these guys and four guys in this white work truck were moving over. You know how somebody will move over if you see somebody on the road, you'll move over a little bit. So they were doing that. So that's when I waved to say thank you. Instead of waving back, they actually swerved, like acting like they're going to hit me, and swerved back into the lane. And I saw them laughing.
Not cool.
So that, like, they literally thought it was a joke to hit me. That's what I realized.
I don't know. I might be hard pressed to be like, okay, forget this. I need a day or two off. That's a thing.
Yeah.
You couldn't take a day or two off to resettle your mind back and stuff.
No, it was just always just intense, like, just fear of getting hit by a car and these things happening that just like, it was just a couple of things that happened I was close to getting hit a couple of times, close to getting hit by these jerks in this work van, work truck. It was a couple of things. Most of the people were fine. Most of it was fine. But for some reason in my head, those situations kept playing back.
But you did it.
Yeah.
And you kept walking forward, putting one foot in front of the other.
I did.
So you got through the shoes.
Yeah.
You're still on the road, but you're working through that mentally, and you're probably using some of your methods that you told us about.
Grounding was huge.
And then, okay, it seems I'm going down a doom path, but but this is the reality of a fastest known time.
It is, yeah.
It's not all glory and all this stuff. It is at the end when you're done, but getting through it. So then you had the malnutrition.
Did you want me to say how I feel about the roads now?
Yes. How do you feel about it now? Before we get to...
Yeah, so how I feel about the roads now is, I kind of see it as, it is what it is. I mean, I should have prepared myself my expectations a little better, because I was looking at pictures of the Mountains to Sea Trail. I see, you know, the trails and the beach and the mountains, but I never saw, you know, these roads that were busy with cars. So I recommend people who want to thru hike of, you know, any trail, but for the Mountains to Sea Trail, to set your expectations and look into the road portions a little more.
And they're not as, you know, I think it would maybe be even a different perspective if somebody's section hiking, because you and I were talking, you know, section hikers go out, maybe they're only going to do 100 miles, and they might have 100 miles like on the road with some various sections off the road. So like Tara said, do your homework, you know where you're going to go. So we move on from the shoes. We corrected that. We move on from the road. Mentally, we're correcting that. Sounds like daily.
Active.
And during all that is this whole, like, you don't feel like eating anymore and food gags you and all this stuff. So
yeah, that's exactly right. So my friend, before I started, was like, you need to get your nutrition straight. And I was like, okay, Matt, whatever, sure. Nutrition. Why wouldn't I worry about my shoes? Like I totally did. You know, I totally worried about my shoes. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I should have really listened to it, because I think it was Clayton, after the Greenway, I started noticing I was getting cold more often. I was just in this mental fog.
And Clayton, you're well out of the mountain portion.
Oh, yeah.
Are you in the coastal plains by then?
Yeah, I'm in the coastal. So after where we are right now, we're on the border of the Piedmont section, the coastal section. So I was, 30, 40 miles into the Piedmont, or into the coastal section. And I started noticing like a mental fog. And then it just got really intense. It just snowballed after that, to where I couldn't keep any food down. I would literally eat all this food to try to get that nutrition back, and I'd throw it all up. I'm also vegetarian, so there's that involved. So I didn't like the meat. I just don't like meat. It's not really for anything. It's just because I don't like it. I don't like it. And so I just couldn't keep anything down. And there's this one picture on my Instagram. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's just this guy asked me to take a picture in front of this sign at Camp Kirkwood, and it was after one of these really bad days. It literally was my brain felt like scrambled eggs. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't talk well. And I just felt so weak and cold, and it wasn't cold at all. And that was really scary. But the picture is me just holding myself, leaning on this Camp Kirkwood sign and trying to manage a smile. And I just wanted to fall asleep right there. It was really intense. I've never felt so malnourished in my life.
And you did say now that you are actually trying to gain your weight back. So you lost 7 to 10 pounds, something like that.
I forget how much it actually was, because I didn't weigh myself properly before. It was around 7 to 10 pounds.
All right, so we don't want to leave on a bad note.
Yeah, no.
Because you did complete the fastest known time. You did complete the trail.
There was a lot of great things that came from that hike.
And are you going to be continuing to put stuff out on your YouTube about that particular hike?
Yeah, so I'm on...
Or fastest known time attempt, and you succeeded at it?
Yeah, so right now I'm on So I did the mountains. I posted my experience in the mountains during the Mountains to Sea Trail, and then I'm working on the Piedmont section, and then I'll do the coastal section. So I'm splitting up in 3 parts where I just talk about pretty much everything. I leave out a couple stories, but I'll continue to post about it.
So I have a question for you, and we'll just kind of end on this and let you sign off for us. In my mind, I'm always a fastest known time person, because I always have I think I am. I can see myself doing that, but I'm not. I mean, I'm a regular hiker. I go out and do this and this. And Jennifer Farr Davis has always been, I don't know her, but I consider her a hiking mentor of mine. And what does it feel like to accomplish something like that? It has to be different than completing the Appalachian Trail. To accomplish that, something you set out to do 40 miles a day and actually be a fastest known time holder. What does that feel like?
I feel a huge sense of accomplishment and reliance on myself now. But I just feel a lot of thankfulness for a lot of people. Like, I wouldn't have done this hike. It wouldn't have been completed without the people who made it possible. Ryan, who supported, Rascal, who supported me, my mom and dad, who came out, my other friend Ryan, who came out and fed me a bunch of times, and the people from the Mountains to Sea Trail and the Trail Angels. Like, those people made the hike, the trail. I'm so thankful for the trail maintainers and the people who came out and helped me. Jim, Betsy was great. She was a mentor on the trail. While I was on the trail, I'd call her up and just rant to her. And so honestly, it's a lot of thankfulness, and I'm so thankful because it wouldn't have been possible. I'm happy and I feel this great sense of accomplishment, but it wouldn't, like I've been saying, it wouldn't have been possible without these people.
Well, you did it. You set the bar high, and congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So what's next?
So I've been dealing with that in my head, just like trying to figure out what's next. So I will move out west eventually, and I want to, this summer I'm planning on hiking the John Muir Trail, but I'm exploring ultra marathons a little more. I haven't done my first ultra marathon.
Wait a minute. I know why you're exploring ultra marathons. Courtney DeWalter,
yes,
she's the ultra marathon goddess.
She's a hero of mine. If you don't know who she is, you need to look her up, because she's
bad to the bone, and she beats the guys.
She beats all the boys. She's awesome. So exploring ultra marathons, but I also want to hike the PCT and CDT. But I've been playing with the idea, like, I know what to expect from an FKT, the fastest known time. So why don't I just try it again? And I would totally, if anyone wants to support me out there, I would totally do the Mountains to Sea Trail again. I would totally do that again, just to see, like, because I know what to expect. So
see how much better you could do.
Yeah. And, challenge myself. It's not about, like, beating other people. If someone beats me, that's totally cool, like, whatever. But challenging myself and trying to push my limits is what I'm out there to do. So really, honestly, anything that'll push me, like, mentally with anxiety, anything that'll push me mentally and physically is what I'm after currently.
Awesome. No better way to end this. You guys, I'm going to put Tara's YouTube links, Instagrams, whatever she'll give me. I'll put it all in the show notes, and I hope we'll stay in touch.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming out here and meeting me, and I really appreciate it, Tara.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
All right, you guys, I am back. It is Tuesday morning, December the 29th, and I am coming to you from hike number 25, which is another greenway, or I guess they're calling it a riverway walk. So let's get right to it. Hike number 25, Smithfield's Neuse Riverwalk, goes from Smithfield Recreation Area and Aquatics to the Bob Wallace J.C. Kiddie Park. The distance is 3.1 miles one way. The degree of difficulty is easy, and I will agree with that. You're literally on greenway the entire way, and it is paved. So the elevation gain is another whopping 73 feet, and the loss is 85 feet. The highlights of this particular hike are river views and a quaint trail town, and this is what the book says about the hike. This hike offers a pleasant riverside amble along a paved greenway into the heart of Smithfield, North Carolina. It begins from the west side of the parking lot on a white sidewalk which meanders 0.4 miles along the perimeter of the park. Note the sculptures of child athletes in the educational panels along the walk and the exercise station with signs. There are no mountain ranges in the eastern part of North Carolina as you are heading toward the beach and really starting to get a sense of the road portions, walking on greenways, city parks, and things like that. And when you get to the beginning of hike number 25, huge parking area. It's a huge Aquatic Center complex. When I got dropped off this morning, I mean, literally, there were probably 2 cars in the whole place. And what I did is I actually went to the road where the sculpture is. I think it's a sculpture of baseballs, and you can see the kid sculptures. And I actually just went to the corner of the road where you turn into the complex and started there. And literally, there's a sidewalk right there that you follow along. And like the book description says, it's about 0.4, and then you turn onto the greenway. And as soon as you turn onto the greenway, it is gorgeous. I mean, right now, I'm walking along, and on my right-hand side are, I don't know what kind of pines they are. They're obviously, I just call them skinny little pine trees. And the smells are very vibrant this morning. The wind is going, and you could tell it's private property on the right-hand side because there's like a huge, it's not an electrical fence, but it's a wired fence that you definitely don't want to get close to. And then on my left-hand side, it's just forest. At very wide path. I've had a couple bikers go by me this morning, but other than that, a nice, I will agree with the book, like ambling walk or amble walk, I guess. No elevation pretty much, and peace and quiet. So looking forward to taking the greenway down into the town of Smithfield, North Carolina. And then right after this hike, I am going to head over to hike number 26. They're not too far apart. And if you guys noticed, I have been doing back-to-back hikes because I am out on my break over the holiday break from teaching and decided, hey, why not get in several of these hikes, meet some people. As you guys heard, I have hiked with some great people. You guys just heard part 2 of Tara Dower's interview, which was awesome. It was so cool meeting up with her and chatting the Appalachian Trail and our experiences on the AT, talking about the MST. And I just asked her a ton of questions, and she was a wealth of information. Really cool meeting the family of 6. They are the first 6 people to complete the hike, and as you guys heard, and then hiking with Mary and my buddy Kansas, who I had not seen since 2015. So this has been like my winter day hike MST tour, and I am going to continue on with hike number 25, finish up on the greenway, enjoy the morning, the solitude, and I will be back with you guys here shortly for hike number 26. All right, you guys, I am back. It is still Tuesday, December the 29th, and wow, what a surprise hike number 26 has been. Let's get right to it. Hike number 26 is the Bentonville battlefield. It goes from the Harper House to the coal plantation. The distance is 2.3 miles one way. The degree of difficulty is easy. The trail type, pretty much on all trail. The elevation gain, not too shabby with this one either. A whopping 82 feet, and the loss is 75 feet. The highlights of this hike are definitely the Civil War battlefield with historic markers and farm fields. The information for this hike from the book, I'll go ahead and stop here and read that for you. The Bentonville battlefield is the site of North Carolina's largest Civil War battle, fought on March 19th through the 21st, 1865. The Battle of Bentonville was the last significant attempt to stop General William T. Sherman's march through the Carolinas and marked the last time the Confederate Army was able to mount a tactical offensive against the Union. The ensuing defeat considerably weakened the Confederacy's last remaining armies. The Bentonville Battlefield State Historic Site now includes more than 2,000 acres of battlefield. It was declared a National Historic Landmark in 1996. So, I want to back up to the end of 25. Ended that hike there, and you kind of pop out into a parking area. On your left-hand side is a cemetery and kind of like an older church. And you can see right away that you are in the town of Smithfield, North Carolina. And the drive from 25 to this hike, 26, was great. You go through the town of Smithfield. There are some gorgeous older homes from the 1800s. And then you just drive and there's farm field after farm field after farm field. Absolutely gorgeous. And then when you get to the beginning of this hike, hike number 26, you basically pull into the parking area at the beginning of the hike, which is the visitor center for the Bentonville Battlefield Site. And I spent several minutes in the visitor center, looking around, getting oriented with the battlefield and reading signs and things like that. And then got ready and started this hike. And literally you cross the street and go into an open field. And in the book, it tells you to look for a cannon, and you can see the cannon right away and where the hike dips back into the woods. And there's just marquee signs all along the way. Right now, I'm getting ready to pass a sign that talks about how this is a historic site. As you can hear, the leaves. This is basically all in the woods, 2.3 miles. I am probably more than halfway through this hike, but I will tell you, not only am I excited about this hike and learning the history and being, on the battlefield grounds, after the hike, there is a 10-mile tour where you can get the map from the visitor center and tour the battlefield. And you call this number, and I guess when you get to the historic sites, it'll tell you, you hit the number and it'll tell you all about the sites. Sorry, I was at a T intersection there. Wanted to make sure I was going the right way. But anyway, wow. Again, I thought, you know what? I'll just get to hike number 26, bang out these 2.3 miles. And you guys, there are signs. Like right now, I just came up to a sign. This is the 1st Brigade, Colonel Henry Case, 3rd Division of the Army Corps, the Army of Georgia. And it's got like pictures and stuff, and you can kind of visualize their camps and their machinery that they're working, that they utilized. And man, this is great. I just cannot believe, I had no expectations for this hike except, it's 2.3 miles. I will bang that out and then head on back to Charlotte. But wow, another awesome day in, I guess now I can say, in the coastal plains of North Carolina. I just cannot talk about hike number 26 enough. Being out here I had no idea about this battlefield, and it looks like I'm getting ready to walk out into an open field. I can see more marquee signs ahead. This is definitely a hike for the entire family. And if you have middle school kids or little kids, this is definitely a teaching opportunity to teach them about the, Bentonville Battlefield State Historic Site, Morris Farm, At the time of the Battle of Bentonville, the Morris family owned over 500 acres of land on which much of the battle was fought. 53 acres of this hollowed ground was sold to the Civil War Trust by the family of Dr. Kinney and Carolyn Morris for preservation. Dr. Kinney Morris was born on this land in 1937. And you guys, where I'm standing right now, if you could just visualize you were on a single track trail, and now I'm looking straight ahead into, I guess, open battlefield, open farmland, and with the historical markers and all that stuff, you can really visualize and kind of see maybe in your own mind what was happening back when all this was going on during the Civil War. But anyway, I am going to continue on. This is absolutely amazing. I'm looking for markers here. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to walk out in the middle of this field or not. I don't think so. But anyway, absolutely amazing. I'm going to continue and enjoy the rest of this hike. And the moral of the story is, you never know with these 40-day hikes. Just when I think I'm going to bang out a hike and I have this anticipation that it's going to be one thing, it really turns into an amazing thing. Another hike for the Mountains of Sea Trail. And I will end you guys with that. I'm going to end this hike, go on the driving tour, head back to Charlotte. This will end this episode, and I will be back to chat with you guys real soon. I hope you all enjoyed hearing about these hikes in my part 2 interview with Tara as much as I did. Thank you again, Tara, for meeting with me and being willing to be interviewed for the podcast. Good luck on your van build and happy trails to all of your future hiking endeavors. As I am working my way closer to hike number 40 and completing the 40 hike challenge, I would love to hear from any of you that are hiking the day hikes, section hiking the Mountains of Sea Trail, or working on your own challenge in your home state. Send me an email to jester@jestersectionhiker.com. I would love to share a few of your emails on the podcast. As always, all of the information, resources, and pictures from today's episode can be found in the show notes at hikingradionetwork.com. If you like what we're doing here at the network, please consider a donation to your favorite show and leave us a review. Each donation and review truly makes a difference in what we do. Thanks for listening, everybody, and happy section hiking.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning light. I wonder if you'd wander with me, and I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods. You're wondering if I go wandering with you, what kind of trouble we'll get ourselves into. Would it be wrong to tag along with a band of vagabonds? You wonder if I'd wander with you. So I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river. I'm wondering if you'd come wandering my way. If you ever get lost, or if the trail leads you astray, the music of the pack can always bring you back. I wonder, can we wander away? And I'll spread the word, and you beat the drum. Round up the troops, and get the gang to come. And we'll leave the streets in these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of statistics, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and an enormous selection of players and stat options are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million football fans who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/get100 and use code GET100. That's code GET100 at prizepicks.com/get100 for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.